maybe watch on your phone if you don't have Facebook. Hey, Gluten Free Badass, how are you? It is date night. How exciting. And there is nothing worse on any night, let alone date night, to go to a restaurant and be glutened by someone who's very careless with cross contact. Because when that happens, nothing fun is happening the rest of the night, either vertically or horizontally. So let's figure out, how are we gonna overcome this? How are we gonna make a restaurant style meal in our own home? And we can make it with our sweetie too. You don't even have to leave, you can just have fun. All right, so the first thing what we're gonna do is we're making a Mediterranean beef stew. And the top aspect here is that we want to start with the beef. All right, and one thing I'm just realizing right now, I'm not seeing comments. How would I see comments? I'm talking to my technical advisors. Technical advisors, what do we think? Let's look. I would just, hold on one second. Okay, no. Well, we've got to, hello, welcome. Would love to say hello to you. Let's do this. I'll be perfectly honest with you. If you've just joined, I am not finding the comments. So we're gonna keep moving forward, okay? So here's the deal. We're gonna start with the beef, okay? And what we want to do is we just have to get basic stew beef from the store. You are gonna heat up your Instapot. And you might be asking yourself, she's making something in an Instapot again? Well, look at your beef, all right? So you're gonna just buy basic cut up beef stew at the store, but you're gonna see it comes in very different sizes. This is the, and what you want is, or if you don't want it, is to see these big ones, just cut it in half, because you really kind of want to have uniform pieces about this big, which is, you know, inch and a half. Hey, Sarah, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. Sarah, I would love to know at some point, as you're writing here, what is your favorite gluten-free date night meal? All right, well, we make this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, we got to salt it, please. Beef is never good without salt. You just need like a pound. And you're gonna salt that very well. I like sea salt for this part. Later we're gonna use just regular table salt, but use your sea salt here. And the key thing when you're browning meat, hey Jenny, I'm so glad you've joined us too again. Welcome back from Europe. What we're doing here is we are gonna put probably just like 7 or 8 pieces into our pot. Because if you have your pieces too close together and have too many, they steam. And steam just creates like gray, sad, limp beef. And what we want is crusty, hard beef. All right, so we're gonna put those in. And when we do that, then we'll start talking about some other things. So Jen, just curious, when you were in Europe, what was the best meal that you had? And why? Why did you love it so much? All right. So, we're gonna put one more in there. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook it on one side, and then when we pick it up, what we're looking for is for it to release. Okay, so we're gonna move this over because it does spit a little, and I don't wanna spend the entire time together going like this with each other. So what we have is, what we wanna do is brown it, and how are you gonna know it's brown without checking it all the time? If you try to pull it up and it comes up, it means it's ready. That is how beef or any kind of meat talks to you, whether it's on the grill or in a pot, is you want to be able to just release it easily. Okay, and thank you, Jenny. I knew you would like that comment. So we're gonna let that cook. Meanwhile, this does take some Cabernet, and so I'm going to drink some Cabernet right now. I saved a cup for the beef, and now I will have a cup for myself. What are you enjoying this evening? Part of date night. All right, so here's the thing. What makes this Mediterranean? There's actually, I think, 22 countries that are on the Mediterranean Sea. And so we have some of the best from the whole area there. So interestingly, so we have cinnamon. We want a cinnamon stick. We have allspice in there. Now, neither one of those, quite frankly, are grown in the Mediterranean area, but they're used a lot in Greek cooking. So we're definitely going to use that. We have thyme, which is grown in Egypt and used very often there. A big component of this dish is paprika. And if you're interested in smoked paprika, it's gonna give you the best flavor. But if you just find regular paprika, that's good too. But that comes from Spain. We have a bay leaf, which, Turkey, thank you. It's from Turkey. In fact, most of it's grown in Turkey. And we have, of course, salt and pepper, which is wonderful. Ooh, Jenny, cookies, the macaroons, and the potatoes. Yes, they definitely can be made gluten-free. Oh, how delicious. Isn't food awesome? Where did the rest of the bottle go? It's back here. It's back here, don't worry. And actually, you know what? It's one of these like mini bottles. Because if I had a whole bottle and drank it all myself, so this is just a half bottle, there would be no one to put the kids to bed tonight. So we don't want that. All right, so let's take a look and see how our beef is doing. Look at this. Okay, you see how beautiful that is? We want to have that brown crust on it because what it does is it adds the flavor. That caramelization is what gives the flavor to our stew. And it's the French that I believe taught us that, or at least taught me that. Let's turn these over. That's perfect. All right. Now, one of the things I said is there's a secret ingredient that is going to help thicken this stew. And actually, there's a couple things working here, but there's one thing that's like bigger than the rest. We're gonna have tomato paste in it, which helps a little. We're gonna have paprika. Hey, look who's come and joined us. Hi, Catherine. And we also, so we have the paprika actually is a thickening agent as well. Yeah, grab some water. Can you get that? Okay, cool. But the big thing, huge thing that we're gonna use is prunes. The prunes are going to be what is thickening this stew. And I see that Alice Bieshot is watching. And Alice, we're doing the big reveal. We are doing that it's prunes that are going to thicken the beautiful sauce. And what's so neat is we have all this savoriness in there, but we're also adding a little bit of sweet, which is what gives it, I think, that restaurant quality to the meal, because it is just that interesting combination that you don't normally make at home. So, I know, Alice, I know, prunes, and they're gonna disintegrate. I agree, yay for prunes. They're gonna disintegrate, and you're never gonna know they're prunes. You're just gonna be like, what is this? This is intriguing. It's savory yet sweet. All right, so let's get our beef out, okay? And what we have on the bottom is we're gonna have a little bit of leftover bits, from the crust, and that is perfect. We do not want to let those get out of the, we do not want those to get out of the pan at all. Did you get squirted? Yeah. Are you okay? Yeah. All right, you're good. I'm good. You're good. All right.
Squirts. It's scary. Don't like it. Hurts.
All right, so what we're going to add now is we're going to add the onions, because of the moisture content, it's going to help, what they say, deglaze the pan. So it's going to help get up all that crust so it doesn't burn, but yet stays in our stew. So let's pull our little friend back over here. And what I like about this is with the beef, you're probably going to have to do like 3 different batches, which is fine, you have time. But with the rest of this, then, once you get done with browning the beef, it's easy. Super fun, so you can get off to more enjoyable aspects of your date night. So, I am actually going to try here to give you like an in-the-pot angle here with the camera, so you can see what that looks like. Excuse me, precious girl. Okay, so take a look at this. All right, woohoo, if you can see that. All right, so can you see how there's like those bits in there still, but there's also the onions starting to deglaze the pan. But it's not going to be able to do it all by itself. It's going to need some help. So we're going to use our Cabernet. And as you may have heard, and it's definitely true, you never want to cook with any wine that you wouldn't be willing to drink yourself. So, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers, baby cakes. Thank you, darling. All right, here's where we put the rest of our ingredients in, okay? So we have, you can have one. She's been eating them all night, which I'm glad, right? Carrots are good, but we need a few for the stew still. Okay, so we have all our ingredients. We are just gonna pour those right in and scrape those out. And I think also it's the allspice that really helps with this very unique flavor. It mixes so nicely with the prunes. If you ever have beets in a salad, throw some allspice on them too and some salt. You'll really like that combination as well. Yes, I agree. She says I have a wonderful sous chef. Thank you, Alice. I would agree. In fact, you're sous chef. Do you want to pour those carrots in? Okay, good. Pour those in. Perfect. Pour those prunes in, please.
Oh, these are prunes. Are they cut up?
Yeah, you want to cut up the prunes. That's a good point. Don't just put them in whole. That's not going to work. You definitely want to
These were raisins.
cut them up. They do kind of look like raisins, don't they?
Cut up.
When they're all cut up. Okay, tomato paste. All right, which kind of gives that nice earthy flavor. You want to put in. You can just again eyeball it. Just put about half a can in, which is about 3 ounces. You're gonna put that in. All right. One thing I'm curious about as we continue to make more date night meals in the future, what meal do you really miss that you had at a restaurant that was before you had to become gluten-free? What would you love for us to try making gluten-free? Or do you have a fabulous recipe that's for date night, that's gluten-free, and you'd like us to make it here and give you fabulous credit for your genius? We can do that too. All right, so we just stirred it up. All right, and now, let's see, what are we gonna do? Where's our beef? Where's our beef? Okay, we're gonna throw our beef back in. All right, and that's it. We're gonna take our top of our lid, and I love the happy noises it makes. Like it's my friend, it's gonna really help me. And give me just 1 second so I can look
Okay.
over, okay? Thanks, baby cakes. We're gonna shut off the saute function, all right? And then we're gonna put on the pressure cook function. And you wanna do that? Sure,
Yeah.
press.
Pressure.
Oops, try again.
Move it.
Yep. And we have it for 30 minutes. And it is gonna sit here and it is gonna cook for 30 wonderful minutes. You're gonna start to smell it a little bit and enjoy your wine and perhaps do a little snuggling on your date night before you eat. And then you're gonna end up with this beautiful, wonderful, savory, yet slightly sweet stew. Now, what do you wanna serve it on? I recommend some sort of rice. And as we talked about last week, gluten-free grains, hi sweet pea, gluten-free grains do not want to party alone. You have to give them a friend, okay, for them to taste best. Otherwise, they're pretty bland. And I would recommend long grain brown rice and long grain red rice and making that together because it's just a wonderful complement of flavors and slightly different textures. The other option is if you like polenta, I think polenta with some sun-dried tomatoes in it would be very chopped very finely, perhaps even with a little basil, fresh basil would be really good. All right, so let's try this, okay? All right, so, ooh, I can smell the beef. You like the smell too?
Yeah. I like rice and I like beef.
And it is just a wonderful combination of rice and beef and flavors that are very unique and really just set the perfect tone for a delicious date night evening. All right, it was so fun to cook with you. I'm gonna chew and swallow. Please, whatever you do this week, keep being you and never ever compromise on that. Have a wonderful week and take care.
Bye.
Bye.